Welcome to Jason Sports Detroit Lions News Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Chep. Let's get through the game preview because this is a big game in the NFC playoffs. Obviously, the Detroit Lions are a 9.5 point favorite. The over-under is 55.5. It's 8 o'clock Saturday night. It kind of pushes up the week and it gets game day here quicker. So I'm all for that. But let's get into the injury report for the Detroit Lions. The injury report for the Detroit Lions is Pat O'Connor is out. Kevin Zeitler is out. Ennis Rakestraw has a hamstring and illness. He is questionable on the injury report. So that's all good. Obviously, the real thing there is you saw no Montgomery, you saw no Terrion Arnold. I think when the Detroit Lions last played against Minnesota, you were worried about Terrion Arnold with the leg injury, the ankle injury, and obviously after the Buffalo game, we didn't think that Dave Montgomery would be here. Making an impact in the playoffs, but here's where he's going to be making an impact in the playoffs because the Commanders' D is susceptible to the run. So it'll be great to see Dave Montgomery back with Jahmyr Gibbs. They both add a different dynamic to the offense, and it's just great to see. So we'll see what happens with the way that Detroit is going to use Dave Montgomery, but it's going to start pretty good. So let's look at the offense for the Washington Commanders. So if you look at the offense, 369.6, they're seventh in total yards, they're 17th in passing yards at 215.6. Rushing yards, 154.1. They're third in the NFL. Points, they're 28.5, which is fifth in the NFL, and 45.6 third down percentage, which is sixth in the NFL. I thought it was interesting what Dan Campbell said about Jaden Daniels. I'll play the clip for you because actually a really good clip on how he thinks about Jaden Daniels in the offense for the Commanders, and I'll play it.
Jaden Daniels obviously has been a big part of their turnaround. Can you just talk about the challenge he presents at quarterback?
He is dangerous. He's dangerous. He poses a major threat. He does not play the position like a rookie quarterback. He's composed. He understands how to progress. He sees the field well. He can buy time with his legs. He's a dangerous runner. He's smart. He's smart. You can tell he understands how to run that offense, what they're asking him to do. And then he's got weapons. He's got weapons around him. I mean, his receiver's pretty dang good. 17's a hell of a player, He's got a good back. He's got more than one receiver. Ertz at tight end. I mean, they've got weapons. The O-line plays hard. But he's a difference maker.
So you heard from Dan Campbell right there, and he was saying that this guy is a total difference maker, Jaden Daniels. And when we look at the statistics of Jaden Daniels, he's very, very good at being the guy. This is his passing yards. This is his offense in general, but this is how he has been on the road this year. 156 for 209, 1,600 yards, 74.6 completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 108.2 rating. In the last game against the Buccaneers in the wild card, he was 24th for 35, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 110 rating. He was fantastic. And when you think about Jaden Daniels and what does he do and where does he throw the most, this is pretty interesting here. Jaden Daniels' top passing locations, he goes short center 24.1% of the time, intermediate center 12.1% of the time, behind the line of scrimmage center 9.9% of the time, intermediate right 5.8% of the time, and short left 5.4% of the time. I got to tell you, if he goes over the middle like he has shown to do with those statistics, it's going to be interesting to see what Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, and Alex Anzalone will be able to do with Jaden Daniels. Because honestly, Jaden Daniels is a really good player. He's a rookie. He's going to be a fantastic player in the league. But when you're going against guys like Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, a guy who is leading the league in interceptions, you really want to avoid throwing over the middle. And if we go back over some things like in terms of the way that the Washington Commanders have played for quite some time, in terms of the way that they play, it's not that simple. They play a very different game in terms of the way that they play. I'm gonna get something up for you, but I'm gonna give you some more stats on Jaden Daniels. But let's look at his top passing depth. Okay, so top passing depth, he throws short 41% of the time. A lot of people are going to see that and they're going to go, well, I look at some of his deep throws. He only throws deep 9.7% of the time. Only 9.7% of the time. and he throws medium 21.6% of the time, behind the line of scrimmage 19.4% of the time. So when you think about Jane Daniels, I think a lot of people look at him and they go, this kid can throw deep. This kid can beat you over the middle. This kid can do this. He throws a lot of short balls, a lot of intermediate balls, a lot of behind the line of scrimmage balls, and he's a very good player. One of the things that we have learned about Jane Daniels, especially me, when I've been talking about this guy and how he's been able to just be a total dog when we talk about how good he is. I'm gonna play you a clip, and it's an all pro clip. It's where he goes in the middle, and these are rub routes, and he does a pretty damn good job at this. And I'm not gonna lie, this is why he's so good at what he does. But when you look at the way that he throws, I mean, it's very, very interesting. So I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to put it up on the screen because this is something I wanted to get up here anyways. So you're going to see, I'm going to take this away. You're going to see right here, I'll play it right here. You're going to see he's going to throw over the middle to Terry McLaurin. It's not simple. He's just going to go over the middle, see the rub route. It's going to be a little bit up over the middle, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could not contain him. Now, there's one thing about you have to know about Mr. Mr. Jane Daniels. The one thing he will do at times is he will throw a ball that's ill-advised. And if you have a safety like Kirby Joseph or Brian Branch, he has a chance to throw some dangerous throws. Now he's a little bit low on the turnover worthy throws. He doesn't do that much, but with a guy like Kirby Joseph who picks off really good quarterbacks a lot, it's very going to be very interesting to see what Jane Daniels does to go against what Kirby Joseph is trying to do. And when you think about the Commanders, you think about their team. They got Brian Robinson. He's decent. He's not having a great year. He had a better year last year. 187 attempts, 799 yards, 4.3 per carry, 57.1 yards per game, 8 touchdowns. So not really that great. Terry McLaurin, he's almost near 1,100 yards, 82 receptions, 13.4 per average, 13 touchdowns, 64.5 a game. And then you see Jaden Daniels' season stats 331 for 480, 69 completion percentage, 100 quarterback rating, 3,500 yards, 209 yards per game, 25 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. He's a pretty good player. And when you think about what things does the Commanders pose that could be a threat to the Detroit Lions? Let's look at this. So, rushing versus a light box, the Commanders' offense ranks number 6. The Lions' defense ranks number 29. Quarterback rushing, Detroit ranks number 16 per NFL Pro. The Commanders rank number 1. Jane Daniels has been fantastic. Rushing shotgun, Detroit it ranks number 26. The Commanders rank number 3. Then you look at the Commanders are number 4 in rushing inside the tackles. Detroit's number 22. But then you look at passing versus play action. Detroit's the number 1 team, and the Commanders are 15th. You know, a lot of people talk about what do the Detroit Lions do against these running quarterbacks. Well, here's the stats. So here, I got some stats. So here, Kyler Murray went for 5 for 45. Geno Smith went for 5 for 38. Baker Mayfield went for 5 for 34. But you see those asterisks? Those are when Mr. Alex Anzalone was out. We all know he's back, but look at 10 for 61 for Anthony Richardson, 4 for 39 for Caleb Williams. He had 6 for 34 in the second meeting, and Josh Allen had 11 carries for 68 yards. Detroit's allowing 6.2 yards per carry to the quarterback, which is second worst in the NFL behind the Houston Texans. And when you think about that, it's just an interesting thing. So we talked about the Commanders' offense. We talked about how good they can be. Obviously, they're a talented offense. Jane Daniels is one of the best young rookies in the league, and he's going to be a rookie there for sure. Their rushing efficiency, overall rushing efficiency, this is where they got the advantage. They're third in rushing efficiency. Detroit defending the run is 15th in efficiency, so that's something that you could look at with the Commanders. Now, let's go to a little bit of a splits. Okay. What do the Commanders do on the road and what do the Detroit Lions do at home compared to each other? Well, let's look at it. Average point splits home, Detroit's 35.7. The Commanders are 25.4 on the road. And when you think about what I just said, Detroit has a 10.3 point differential at home compared to the Commanders on the road. So that's where this shows out. Now, you're asking, let's get to the offense. Let's get to the Detroit Lions offense, because what can they do to compete with this Washington Commanders offense that can be dangerous with Jane Daniels? But let's look at their defense. First of all, they're 29th in Pro Football Focus with a 55.1 grade. Total yards, they're 13th. They give up 326.9 per game. Passing yards, 189.5 per game, third in the NFL, which makes no sense. 137.5 rushing yards. That's 30th in the NFL. Points, 23.0, 18th in the NFL. And on third down, they are 15th in the NFL with 38.2. So what advantages do the Detroit Lions have over the Washington Commanders? Here's one: passing efficiency. The Detroit Lions rank second overall. The Commanders rank 23rd as a pass efficient defense, and Detroit's the second ranked team in overall passing efficiency. And when you look at the Detroit Lions offense compared to the Commanders defense, this is where they have a big discrepancy. The Lions offense is number 2 in passing versus play action. The Commanders are number 30th. Number 1 in short passing is Detroit. Number 24 for the Commanders. Passing versus blitz, Detroit's number 3 in the NFL. The Commanders are number 27. Passing versus no pressure, Detroit's number 1. The Commanders are 21st. Number 2, overall passing efficiency, Detroit's number 2. And the Commanders are 23rd, which we went over just recently. But when we went over those statistics and we talked about, the difference in the game, I go back to it. You go back to it. The Lions over the Commanders defense. If they send pressure on a blitz, Detroit's number 3, the Commanders are number 27. If they don't send pressure, Detroit's number 1, the Commanders are number 21. So, and if Detroit gets their run game going, which we know that Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery, passing versus play action, the Commanders are 30th in the league. The Detroit Lions are second in the league. So when you talk about what the Detroit Lions are able to do against this Commanders team, they should be able to have a really good day moving the ball down the field. Obviously, they hold a lot of advantages towards the Commanders defense. So that will be interesting to see what we see from there. But when you talk about the blitz, how much do the Commanders blitz? Well, they blitz 31.5% of the time. That's 5th highest in the NFL. And Goff versus the blitz, 70.5 completion percentage, that's 3rd in the NFL. 1,500 yards, which was 4th in the NFL. 8.8 yards per attempt, which is 4th in the NFL. 14 touchdowns, which is tied for 4th in the NFL. And 8 sacks, which is the 5th lowest in the NFL. So when we talk about the Detroit Lions and when we talk about what advantages do they have, well, offensively, they have a huge advantage because their defense seems like they can't be able to stop the Detroit Lions. And that's the major issue with this game for the Commanders. They are going to have a tough time trying to stop the Detroit Lions offense. There's been a lot of teams that have struggled to keep pace with Detroit's offense at home. I mean, Detroit scored over 30 points about 5 or 6 times at home. So when you talk about the Detroit Lions and you talk about what they're able to do at home, as they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, this is what we're talking about. And when you have a defensive disadvantage right here, where if they don't send pressure towards Jared Goff, he's going to kill him. If they send pressure and send a blitz towards Jared Goff, he's going to beat him. And they can't stop the run. That's number 2. They can't stop the run. They're one of the worst teams in stopping the run. So if Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery are going to start going, we'll go back to the statistic right here. The Lions over versus the Commanders defense. Passing versus play action. Detroit's number 2. The Commanders are number 3. If you blitz Jared Goff, Detroit's number 3. The Commanders are 27th. Passing versus no pressure. If you're trying to put all your guys in coverage, to cover J-Mo, to cover Laporta, to cover Gibbs coming out of the backfield, to cover St. Brown, 21st in the NFL. So there's a lot of disadvantages right here for the Commanders, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we know what Jared Goff, we know what this team is able to do. And here's Dan Campbell with his how ready he is.
I'm good. I woke up yesterday. I'm ready, man. I've got controlled fury, and I'm ready to go. I'm absolutely ready to go. I don't go the other way. So, and the team won't either. We're on a mission, and we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves and wallow in
They're on a mission. The Detroit Lions are on a mission. They're on a mission to win games. They're on a mission to uh, protect home field. And when we played the statistics, I mean, obviously you have two of the most aggressive coaches in the game, and I love this picture right here. Dan Campbell versus Dan Quinn next week is going to be straight on man. 0 field goals, going for it on anything less than 4th and 10. No punch, just vibes. And that seems like what it's going to be like. But Detroit holds the advantage here. Obviously, when you talk about being a 10.3 differential at home versus the Commanders on the road, obviously, when you talk about Detroit being a better team against the blitz, obviously you talk about Detroit's run game against the Commanders' run defense. You know, where the only place that the Commanders can really gain an edge on you is Jayden Daniels. And if Detroit's able to just calm Jayden Daniels down, keep him hemmed in the pocket, make him throw. He's a good thrower. We all know that he's a rookie of the year, but you got to keep him hemmed in. If he is hemmed in and you keep your offense humming, the Detroit Lions are going to win this game by far. But if they give Jayden Daniels any amount of confidence, they give this Commanders team any confidence early on, it could be a little bit difficult. But Detroit's at home. They've been a good home team all year. They've had 2 losses at home to the Bills and the Buccaneers. But we all know what happened in the second game, and we know what happened against the Buffalo Bills. So the Detroit Lions look like they're a team on a mission, like Dan Campbell said. It'll be very interesting to see how they attack Jayden Daniels, how they keep him hemmed in the pocket after, especially if Aaron Glenn had a great game plan last week. I mean, last time they played against the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold. I will be interested to see what he does against Mr. Jayden Daniels, the rookie of the year here. So we will see you in the next episode of the Detroit Lions News podcast. We'll have a podcast tonight. We'll be talking to Tay and Todd from the Commanders podcast, and we'll be talking Lions Commanders later, and it'll be on this YouTube channel. So go watch that and go watch the game preview podcast I had with Walt and Spirit of Detroit podcast. Great stuff as always. But obviously Detroit is a heavy favorite with a lot of money, a lot of the spread going towards them, 9.5 points. But the Commanders shouldn't be taken lightly. They're a team that can be beneficial. They're a team that can scare you. And the guy that's at quarterback is a pretty damn good quarterback. So we're going to see what the Detroit Lions can do against this guy. And if Jayden Daniels gets loose, it could be chintzy at the end. But if you hem him in and you control it, like you've controlled a lot of this game this year, you'll be fine. So the Detroit Lions are going to play the Commanders on Saturday, 8 o'clock on Fox. We will see you then after the game on the post-game podcast here on Detroit Lions News Podcast. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and we will send you more Detroit Lions content every single time that I have Lions content going through the brain. So, and there's Detroit sports content. So if you're a Detroit sports fan, where else are you going to get this kind of type of coverage? Obviously, we'll have more videos. I've been trying to get better at producing more stuff on YouTube. So we will do that moving forward. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video as we talk more Detroit Lions football here on JC Sports.